They say some alleyways don't lead anywhere. Not really. They just curve, then vanish. Dead ends, filled with fog and forgotten footsteps. But some people swear, if you turn down the right one at the wrong hour, you'll find her. She doesn't speak. She doesn't ask for anything. She just stands there, where the shadows won't reach her and the streetlights dare not shine. They call her many things: a ghost, a lost bride, a memory-wearing skin. But one man, the only one who dared to follow the silence, learned the truth. She isn't lost. She's waiting. And when he met her, he realized she wasn't haunting the alley. She was guarding it. Watch until the end, because not all roads are meant to be walked, but some are meant to find you. To everyone who subscribed and liked, I pray your heart finds what it's been silently walking toward. Comment your city. Have you ever passed a place that felt like someone was still inside, watching? There's a street in the old part of Vat, town no one remembers the name of, not because it's unimportant, but because it's not supposed to be remembered. It bends sharply, narrows without warning, and ends in a breathless silence that doesn't belong to the city. Locals call it the corridor, a passage between two sides of nothing. People pass it quickly. They don't look. They don't speak. Julian did. Not because he was brave, but because he had nowhere else to go. It was the night his world caved in. He had lost his job, his relationship, and the last voicemail from his mother had been silent. So he wandered through fogged glass and flickering lamps until he turned into the alleyway. No one walked into Dot. It didn't feel cold. It felt paused, like the air was holding its breath. And there, just before the wall that ended the lane, stood a woman. She wasn't doing anything, just standing, wearing a black coat, long and flowing like melted ink, her dark hair falling around her face in soft waves. She looked like she belonged in another time, another place, maybe even another life. Julian almost turned back, but her eyes stopped him. Eyes that didn't look at him. They looked through him, like she knew every heartbreak he'd ever buried beneath politeness. "Are you lost?" he asked. His voice didn't echo. The alley didn't allow sound to travel far. She tilted her head, slightly. "No," she said. "You are." That should have scared him. It didn't, because somehow he believed her. He approached slowly. As he did, the lights behind him dimmed, not out of fear, but like they were bowing their heads. She stepped to the side, revealing a bench that hadn't been there before. Old wood, paint peeling, just enough space for two people trying not to touch. He sat. They didn't talk much, but Julian felt heard, as if his silence was a language she'd already mastered. "I waited here once," she whispered, "for someone who never came back." He didn't ask who, because his chest ached, like he already knew the answer. "Why do you stay?" he finally asked. "Because sometimes," she said, "a place remembers better than people." A gust of wind passed behind them, but none touched her hair. She was untouched by time, by weather, by rules. When he looked away for just a second to catch his breath, he heard the scrape of footsteps. Turning back, she was gone. Only the bench remained, and beside him, a pressed white lily. Still warm. Julian left the alley that night feeling something had been returned to him. Not a person, not a memory, but a thread to something sacred, something waiting. He tried to go back the next day, and the next, but the alley was gone, replaced by a brick wall with no opening, as if it had never existed. Years passed. He built his life again, but every time he walked at night, he felt it. A turn, a pause, a woman in black standing where the street no longer bent. They say the alley appears only to those who carry too much silence. And she's still there, not haunting, not luring, but listening. Some people call her a spirit, a guardian, a curse, but Julian called her something else, the woman who waited for him, even when he didn't know he was lost. Thank you for watching, because some stories don't begin with a kiss. They begin with a silence that knew your name. To all who liked and subscribed, I hope you find your way, even if the world forgets your path. Drop your city in the comments. Have you ever turned a corner and felt like someone was already waiting?